I'd like to start back a little bit, what we already learned. Because you have this term mokir and shoirish and all that, but that, as I said, it is really not germane to the point that we're discussing. But nonetheless, I'd like to explain again the principle of shoshu ha'amiti. So we're starting at the end of the third line from the bottom quickly. Ein ha'idiyah machrachas ha'bechira. After that, the Nivroim were created, and they are still in full conscious awareness, knowledge of the Creator. Therefore, you would think that the way the Creator knows them, that's the way they are going to act, that's the way they're going to be. Which is, in fact, the way it must be. Because what the Creator knows is the reality itself, not just a projection. Therefore, He knows how they're going to be, and therefore, this is the way they're going to be. And they must be that way, since the Creator knows them this way. And here's a really subtle evil. However, third line from the bottom of the end. Ein ha'idiyah machrachas ha'bechira. This divine knowledge of the Nivroim does not compel, does not in any which way decide the Bechira, the choice of the Nivroim. And the Rebbe explains. It means that this exactly, the Hagam, that although Sheyedeya kol ma'aseh ha'odam, that he knows all human actions. Upioloisom, and all his effects. And apula means how he's going to affect the world. What is his pursuit? What is his intent? He knows all that koidem sha'osa. Before that the human being did it. And Hashem knows all that. And we explained, like we should reflect the difference between Maisa and Pula. Maisa is just a superficial action that can even occur unintentionally. A person walks, and in his walking, he kicks a little branch, he kicks something on the floor without being aware. That's a maisa. This maisa is also pre-known by the Creator. Then there is another category, pioloiso, that which he does intentionally to affect the world. Peula. That which he plans out and that which he actually brings forth on a human level. He knows all of that, koidem sha'osa, before that the human being did it. Umisham, and here's the emphasis, umisham, and from there, from that knowledge, be'emes, in real truth, mokir ha'koyach is the source for the koyach, for the ability, li piulas hodam, for the action of men. Because it is, as I explained yesterday, if you reflect deeply to the phenomenon of what's going on in the world, particularly human participation in the world, there is nothing in the world, not even empty space, that is not a divine creation. Nothing that we relate to is a fundamental, a primary presence, but nothing to do with anything else. It is there because it is there. There is no such thing. Everything is a divine creation. And therefore, if this is one divine creation, how can a human being come and affect it and make changes in that creation, which is an intentional creation by the Creator? And the expression is that the Creator had enabled and permitted the human being to bring forth all of his faculties, all of his capabilities. And as I said, we said many times when the Pasuk says, when the human being was created, Hashem said to him, be fruitful and multiply. And fill the earth and capture it. Capture it means, if we translate the world according to your values, according to your view, so that the earth that you're treating upon, it relates to you. You can relate to it. You don't feel like you're a stranger. Keep sure. This is your earth. This was given to the human being. And thus the human being is really capable of making fundamental changes in the world. And all that is pre-known by the Creator. This pre-knowledge, this pre-knowledge by the Creator, even though this is, as we're going to see, is what enables the human being to do what he does. Nonetheless, it does not in any way compel and decides what this choice is going to be. The Hagam, to mention about it, the Hagam, which means that although that he knows all human actions and all human effects. Also, before that he did them, all that is known by the Creator. Umishom, this is the parenthesis, the heavy parenthesis. Umishom, and from there, from that knowledge, emes, in real truth. So we already discussed the implication when the word emes is used. Emes means the truth. When does the word emes come in describing something? Something that you can readily see the cause and effect and the process, how it happens. So it happens on the functional level. But sometimes things occur which are not based on a functional level. Such as human actions, human changes in the world. What a human being does in the world seems to be completely independent of what the world is about. It depends how the human being interprets the world, what he wants it to be. like we pointed out, the big classic effect in our time, that when we, the Jews, took over the Negev, a traditional desert, a desert from desert land. Nobody wanted to have the Negev. And we came in, readily took over. It's a huge area. It kind of increased our land space, maybe double or triple. And we transformed it into a vibrant area, fruit-producing land in the desert. It's a fundamental change. Where does a human being get both the right and the capability of making such transformations? You're coming into a world that is not yours. It's a world that belongs to the Creator, and you're making balabatischkeit. Balabatischkeit on a fundamental level. You're changing the entire principle of its existence. Where does he get this capability, this right? This is from Hashem's pre-knowledge that the human being is definitely capable and is going to come and he's going to make this change.
Change.
Huh?
I'm just repeating your words from Ronnie. I'm telling Rabbi Paltiel, but I'm repeating his words for you.
And Hashem knows it all, even though, as we're going to see, the emphasis, the human being is a free agent. He makes a decision at the moment what he wants to do. Yet Hashem knows all of his decisions and all of his choices before he does it. And here is an important message in this parenthesis that we spent a lot of time on that. Umishom, and from there, from that knowledge, from that divine knowledge, be'emes, in actual truth. Again, the word be'emes is an allusion that this is something which is at the emes level, not on the functional level. What's at the emes level? And what's at the functional level? The functional level is after it was designed and it has a certain function. The emes is how it is rooted in its creator. When it is limitless. It possesses the creator's sense of reality. From there, from this Hashem's knowledge, be'emes, in truth, which means this is what it's rooted. Moker HaKoyach is the source of the koyach, lipiyulas ha'od, for the human action. And here is where we're going up, Barry, and I'm going to make some comments about our debate here, but let me just go there first. This is the source for the koyach, for the ability of a human action. What is the source for human action? The fact that it was pre-known by the Creator. However, it has to be qualified. This in that this is what provides the ability of human action is not bibchinas mokoir, not in the sense of a source. Source means that the koyach, the actual koyach that a human being uses, exerts in his action, is really sourced and really a representative of the divine koyach. From Hashem's knowledge, this is where it comes the Moken HaKoyach, is the source of the molecular soul. Where is a human being? There are two aspects that need to be identified, that need to be recognized. One is the ability, and the other is the right. The right to changes is one thing. Hashem said to improve shiur. Moken HaKoyach, what gives him the ability, that's a different requirement altogether. How does a human being, let's think together for a moment, he comes to this earth. He comes after it's all to a final being, a complete being. It's an earth that has open spaces, that has trees and grass and rain and so forth. It's a whole process. And he can come and change very fundamental aspects of this earth. So here there are two questions. Now, question one is by what right? And the second question is by what ability? What gives him that ability to win this kind of change? Let's identify the two. If you have a house and you furnish it, you are changing certain functional levels of the house, but you're not creating anything new. The house is standing on the ground, and you are simply using this space in a certain way. But to go and dig into the ground and put a foundation and build a new structure on this ground, this requires a completely different capability. You're changing the definition of land space rather than its function. definition is given to it by its creator. Like we have, he gave you the very simple illustrations from Shlomo. A guest comes to the house. And he comes in and he says, the furnishings are not set up correctly. You have to put this table here, this table here. So we would say already it's intruding out of his purview, out of his mandate. But what if he comes on a more fundamental level? And he says, this is not supposed to be a dining room, it's supposed to be a bedroom. It's a completely different level of change. It's defining the fundamental reality itself. That's on the human level. And we clearly understand the difference. The human being came to the earth and he made changes at that level and even more profound than that. Where does he get the audacity and the koyach to affect it? What is the koyach to affect it? The koyach to affect it is that he affects it and it remains that way. It's a big difference to do something while you're doing it in a certain way, or saying you said it and this is the way it is. When you say this is the way it is, you're changing the entire definition of the place, not only its use and function. Where does human being get that capability, that koyach, to change the definition of the world? This is what the Rebbe says. It is due to the Hashem's pre-knowledge. Hashem knows what the human being is going to do. This knowledge is the enabler for this deed. In other words, when a human being comes in and he made that change, just like in our emotion, you come in and you say, no, this room should not be a dining room, should be a bedroom. It would be a king to say that really the owner of the house already saw it as being a bedroom or a dining room.
I'm sorry. If he came in and changed it, it would be.
If he came in and changed it and it would stay that way, it would be only because the owner had already pre-identified it that way.
He couldn't do something that's completely out of the.
Out of his perception. Certainly not make it stay.
Like.
This is what the Rebbe says. Maisa is an action. Piyoloisa means his effects. He actually transforms, he changes things in the world in a fundamental and a permanent manner.
Changes, makes the desert into a garden.
It makes a garden.
Orchard.
How can that happen? This is what the Rebbe says. This is why the word emes comes in. What does emes mean? Emes means the word emes is a powerful word, all-encompassing, and yet it's very elusive. There is one emes as an adjective. The cup is here. That's true. It's called that's an adjective. It is not a standalone concept. It describes a certain situation. Then there is an aspect in the world which the Rebbe should put into it, which is called emes, a fundamental emes, a absolute emes. something that is true, that is the truth that is not the truth is not due to some kind of a functional level, but just the truth itself. Hashem Elohim emes. Hashem Elohim emes. What do these words mean? Everyone knows the translation of these words. What do these words mean? Does it mean that Hashem does whatever He wants in the world? That's it. That's not emes. That's on a human level. Emes is going back to a fundamental source level perception. Like we said many times, and this is the time to focus on the very phenomenon that there is such a thing as space is a divine presence. It is not something which is worldly per se. The very emes of the world, which means that the very reality of the world itself, the fact that there is such a thing, is a divine creation. This is a very challenging thing for us to understand. The reason it's challenging is that in the mind process, this is not this is true. In the thought process, there's that which is primary and that which is secondary. Primary is the way it is on its own. Secondary is the way it is affected by use and by time and so forth. Space and time is primary. It's not an add-on to the reality. This is part of the reality. This is what reality is. To come and say that space and time is a creation is something which kind of contradicts our perception of it. Because space is not something that's an add-on to reality. This is reality itself. And then we say, no, this reality is a divine creation. Like the Rambam says, please listen to these words. Everybody knows these words probably in their sleep. Yisrael Ha'aseh from the foundation of all foundations and the principle of Chochmah. Where does Chochmah come in? To know the world and understand the world with wisdom. What's a wisdom, a wise statement of God in the world? A wise statement of God in the world is not that the world is there, but the world is a divine creation. But there's a first being. The first being is the one who provides the ability and the right for the world to be. As fundamental, as real the world is, the world needs that right granted to it by its creator. Thus, when the human being functions in the world and does all these things, he thinks he functions on a worldly level, on space and time level. And here comes, so to speak, a mental revolution. He functions within a divine right, divine reality. This is why when he takes an apple, he makes a bracha. An apple is not the product of the tree, not the product of the creator. It totally redefines, not redefines. It sets it at a different, from a different perch, from a different base. Then, as a human being perceives it. He can understand things have been created, that which is on top of her, in addition to the basic presence. Then he learns and he understands and he is taught and there's an insistence from Torah to say the basic existence itself is a divine innovation. It's a divine presence, it's not a worldly presence. The desert does not belong to the world. It belongs to the divine perception that it should be a desert. Every tree and every blade of grass, has been designed and pre-identified by the Creator. And thus, when we observe that, it is imperative that we recognize that we are looking at a divine message rather than a worldly message.
It does seem like with that approach, you'd make a bracha on every breath, basically.
Maybe?
On every breath.
Absolutely.
You'd be making a bracha, basically.
Yeah, that's right. But that's what it says. We have to actually acknowledge every breath.
Right, and it does seem it does seem like at some point the Chachamim had a debate about whether time and space were always here or whether it was a creation. Is that correct?
No,
they always.
Not our Chacham.
Fine. It wasn't a chiddush of Hasidus that time and space are creation. That's always been Chazal. That's always Chazal.
Of course not. No. Hasidus identified and explained it and showed us how to relate to it.
Yeah, fine. And then it does seem like just to be neshama in a guf, you kind of have to get over that, call it that ongoing wonder, and walk and talk. If I really was in a great amazement about space, I wouldn't be able to walk.
No, you would be able to. You would be able to. That's exactly what we're learning right now.
Havdala.
Again, how would it not completely disrupt your ability to do anything in the world?
Like you said, you come to my home. Take it very simple illustration. You're in my home. Every step you take, you're in my home. You're not going to violate that phenomenon. Not true. And yet, you walk freely in my home, from room to room. And you do what you need to do.
But there's certain things you would not do in your house, but you're saying we're visitors in God's house, so we can do.
You would not do only those things that the host did not give you permission to do.
So too in the world.
So to the world, the Rebbe gave you full jurisdiction to do your thing in the world.
Which is quite a big range, I guess. Like
a limitless range. Shiur means claim it as yours.
Yeah, but there are rules. There's things we cannot do.
Right. So the first house, you're working according to his.
The only thing that he cannot do, we can talk words. What can we not do?
Useless destruction. Nothing.
Destruction that even destruction is permitted. You can chop down a tree.
Right.
No, but we cannot do the negative commandments.
What?
We have negative commandments. You cannot do this and this and this.
No, that's something else. That's something else. That's not in the world. That's commanded on yourself. That's something else completely.
You can't destroy matter.
You cannot destroy. You mean functionally or by right? What are you talking about?
Apparently either one.
No, it's not two different things. Here we're mixing completely something up.
Okay.
You cannot destroy matter because we do not have the ability to do that. Because matter represents a divine creation. It appears to us to be a part of a world. It's a worldly presence. It is not a worldly presence. Just as we now said, space itself is not a worldly presence. As fundamental as it appears to be, it's a divine creation. When you walk in my home, there's no obstruction. You can walk and do anything you want. But you're constantly aware that you're walking in somebody's home. And it is the home that gives it, that facilitates you walking. Identical to that, you're walking on the earth. It is the Creator's presence that facilitates your walk.
So how does this go to Shlomo's question that we really should be making a blessing on each and every breath, everything we do.
That's true. That's true. We should definitely. We should, but we don't because we do it once. Just like you make a bracha very prihoritz, and then now later take another apple. You don't have to make a bracha. You yotze with the bracha you made an hour ago, unless you had a complete distraction, complete dissociation.
So these brachas we make as a shakar.
Exactly. That's what the whole day.
What's happening?
That's what the whole day. Exactly. So the word emes here is a profound significance. Emes here does not mean functionally. It means by definition, your action in the world is really representative of divine action, even though it's a human action. But what enabled the human being to do this action? What gave him permission to do that? Just like in my home, if you come and you do whatever you do, you can do it by what enables it? The host. If not for the host, you won't be able to do that. So the koyach for this action is of the knowledge of the Creator that the human being is going to come. This human being is going to come on this place and time, and he's going to do such and such, and this is what facilitates that human presence and that human action. Now let us reflect. Let us reflect. What's so significant? What's so important about this? The bottom line is, human being can do whatever he wants to do. Hashem, he doesn't have to. He doesn't stop back. Am I allowed to do this? He does whatever he thinks he wants to do. What is the significance of these words? That from there, from Hashem's knowledge, is mokir hakoyach l'filos. And it's not between small. It's shorshi ho'amiti. What is so significant about that? Please reflect. The significance of that is that every action of man, especially the Jewish people, Hashem is an immediate participant in this action. direct participant. This participation justifies the action and also gives it a right of being, it strengthens it. This is why the human being can come and build a house and make changes in the world, and it stays forever. Because it has a divine spirit that holds it up. Notice, just as we will not go and wantonly destroy a tree, nor we will not wantonly destroy a house. Even though a house is a human creation. So big deal, the human being is, I'm going to take it apart. This is no. This human creation also represents a divine presence. And the issue of Baltashkis applies both on the tree and applies on anything that human being made. Anything that's useful. Anything that's useful. There's an issue of Baltashkis.
What's still asked, what is this adding to it? In other words, the Baltashkis piece of it is saying...
Is saying that this is a divine mandate for it to be. Human being concocted something and it has a divine spirit.
Oh, I see. The house is just like a regular, like a natural. It has the same significance, the same permanence. Because the Yehudah is there with it.
The Yehudah is there. The Yehudah made it happen. The Yehudah is holding it up. If you're going to destroy it, there should be a good reason for it. Just in case. You have to answer to its maker. But what way are you doing this?
And that, the fact that he uses the Lashon that he knows all the pa'ulas means that every single thing that the person does, that's the Yehudah. It's not just the general, he knows that the human being has these infinite capabilities. He actually knows the specific.
Absolutely.
The specific.
You take this cup, you put it down here. This part of this cup over here has a certain reality, a certain divine reality. It has the right to be there, and it should be there as long as the human being who put it there wants to keep it there. All right. We're still not finished, but we are making dents.
Making steps.
Okay.
Would it be fair to summarize yesterday's discussion as the difference between Elokus b'Pashtus, the Olam b'Pashtus, versus Olam b'Pashtus, Elokus b'Pashtus? Would that be
Yes.
fair?
Yes, this is exactly what we're trying to impress upon us.
Right. In today's conversation, would it be fair to summarize it as being illustration of how they basically overlap, that they're not really so. We brought out from Olam how it is Elokus, basically.
Yeah, that's Elokus of Shapashtas.
Right. Okay.
Everybody knows its terminology? If a human being is able to purify his mind, his thought process, to recognize Elokus b'Pashtus, then he is a full-fledged human being.
So if he purifies his thought process to have Elokus b'Pashtus. So basically that's the Cheder mindset, but you're also saying that's the basic human
The Yehudah mindset is because he has a Rebbe who is directing him that way.
Yeah.
But to take this along into life,
Yeah.
and live that way throughout your functional life, to go to business, you buy and sell, you change things, you build things, all within that framework, that's a completely different.
Right, and you're saying that's a human stance. You're not saying that's the side of Kedusha or
no, this is a human
tzaddik.
stance. A human stance. Human being was given that capability.
That's being aware of the emes level. The emes level.
All right. Third try.
I would have summarized yesterday as hitting the nail on the head.